Mental illness is an addiction. Like almost less than a month ago that I had so much love for myself and the world around me. It felt so easy to love and see the good in everything, even people, because I know sometimes it's very hard to even be nice to people around you with what's going on up in your mental, because everything's just so negative and it's just constantly bringing you down. But now all of a sudden I've hit a steep in the hill, and right now I'm just trying to climb back to that peak again. It's like I try to describe life a lot as like hills and peaks, because everyone, and this is going to happen to everyone just in different degrees, in different quantities. You're going to have your ups and you're going to hit that peak and you're going to go right back down again, and you got to work your way back up. And unfortunately, this is a continuing process that happens to many people, especially mentally ill people, stress, anxiety, depression, all of that. And hit your ups, your downs constantly and repeatedly. And honestly, like when this happens to us, it seems like the worst times possible that it is hitting on that down slope. It's so frustrating and deflating of a person's mental and confidence when you work so hard mentally to escape, and then you're just dragged back down, sometimes even farther back down than you started. Your brain creates, it forms an addiction. And that's where I'm going to get into how stress, depression, anxiety, and mental illness is an addiction. So like I was saying, stress and depression is an addiction. Now, you're probably like, what are you talking about? That is a crazy statement. Now, this might make no sense being said this way, but I'm going to break it down a little bit so it makes a little bit more sense, even though it is kind of a complex topic to just hear me out. Just hear me out. So, stress and depression are a state that is an addiction. When dealing with any mental illness, you feel scared and so sad, and you want to get rid of it immediately, obviously. Like anything that's happening, if you're in a slump, or if it's like something's going so horribly in your life, it's just like, why is this happening to me? What is wrong? How do I fix this? And it feels like the worst thing in the world until you feel even the slightest relief from it, and or the emotions during this. And then that rush of adrenaline hits you once you come down from this feeling, and it's just like a deep release of stress. And that's what people get addicted to. And I read a book about this. I think it was called Becoming Supernatural. I forget the author. But he touched on this topic, and he said the rest of the stress hormones arouses the brain and body, providing a rush of energy, and in time people become addicted to that rush of that chemistry, and people are going to be using things around them and people within their lives to reaffirm their addiction to the emotion, just to keep feeling that heightened state that they do. And basically what that means, you become emotionally addicted to the life that you hate, and your brain and body becomes comfortable with the state that you are in currently. Now, obviously, after I bring this up, which is a statement that a lot of people might have not heard before, that mental illness or stress and depression is an addiction, people are either gonna be like, oh damn, like that's kind of crazy that is what happens, or people are going to completely understand if this has happened to them, or it's like something they've realized just now after me saying that, and they're going to connect with this and ask what to do with it. The reason I was talking a little bit about my emotions in the beginning of this video is because every time I escape this state of mind, I don't even remember what I do to escape it. It feels like such a blur, because a lot of people's trauma responses is when you're in a traumatic moment, it's just a complete blockout, like you don't remember it. And I feel like when I'm looking back at it, when I was able to do this, it's just that complete blank. But basically, it's a normal thing to have that trauma block in your memory or in times, and that was just something that happened to me. And I feel like when I'm trying to remember and look back at what I did, I honestly just tried to be alone. And it can be so scary to be alone for so many people, and it was for me in the beginning. And I'm not saying stop hanging out with your best friend. I'm not saying stop being around your significant other. I'm saying you need to spend some time alone to connect and reconnect with yourself and find yourself and find your internal, like, your soul. One thing, like, drugs can do so much, but what if you have to get off those drugs? What if you can't afford those drugs anymore, or pills or medication to help with your problems? If you can't afford it anymore, or you can't take it for the rest of your life, you're gonna be reliant on it. You're going to be in a state where you're not gonna know what to do without that medication, without that bottle. So you need to understand how to learn yourself and learn some of these things on your own without learning about yourself or learning how to perceive the world with love. How are you to love something and someone else? How are you putting love into something when you don't even have it for yourself? Like I was saying, you need to be alone. You just have to do it. Like, something that I did that helped me a lot is being surrounded by nature, and it helps a lot more than you think it would. Like walking trails, going on hikes, going to the park, honestly just sitting outside and doing absolutely nothing, maybe reading a book, listening to music. Just sit outside, and it helped me a lot. Go with a friend, go alone. It's not weird to go alone. It's not embarrassing. No one is staring at you, no one is making fun of you, no one cares. Everyone is in their own world, and the last thing they're thinking about is, why is this person alone? No one cares. It's not that big of a deal. I know you're thinking like, oh, that's embarrassing, like I don't even want to go do something alone, da 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 da. I went to the movies alone. Now, going on a walk alone is like, that's still kind of scary. I went to the movies alone. I went and watched a whole movie by myself. I snuck in some Chipotle and I went and watched this movie, and honestly, I had fun. No one was looking at me, no one was staring at me, no one cared. They were on all attention on the movie, and I had a good time. And that's when it really hit me, like, no one cares, because that was like really embarrassing for me. When I was doing that, I was like, oh my god, everyone's gonna think I'm weird, everyone's gonna be staring at me, da, 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 da. Girl, whatever, who's watching this, they don't care. No one cares. Another thing I also did was I journaled and did a lot of shadow work. And if you don't know what shadow work is, it's basically like questions about things that help you dig deep and really make you think about yourself. And you just write the question down and read it and start writing. And it helped me a lot within my process, because it helped me kind of understand what I was feeling a little bit better and just my emotions as a whole. And it let me open up when I didn't want to speak to other people about it, because I am one of those people that doesn't like communicating to others. I don't like people knowing my business. I don't want people knowing my business. And you know, for some people that's helpful, like going to a therapist, talking about your problems, going to a friend that wants to help you and listen. These are all good options, but for me, someone who doesn't like to put all of my things into someone's head, or people that don't even have anyone to talk to about this, journaling is a great outlet to get all of your thoughts out. It's kind of like talking out loud without talking out loud. If you are someone that, when I explained how it's an addiction and it connected with you and you understand exactly what I was talking about, I want you to try one of these two things that I mentioned. And you might be thinking, Tia, well, you're feeling like this way again too, so why would I even waste my time doing these things? It's gonna keep happening. Like I said, life is like this, repeatedly, over and over and over again. You can't control your emotions. It's just something you cannot control in your life. And you have to work with it, you have to understand it, and learn to understand yourself. And it takes a long time. It's not gonna just be magically fixed if you walk outside and touch some grass or write a single sentence down in the journal. It helps over time. And the little things you do to help yourself feel and live and love again is everything that matters. These little steps are what helps you to get to this checkpoint that you want in life. And obviously that checkpoint is not going to stay still. Your goals are not going to stay still. Nothing stays the same, because every time you reach it, it's going to get higher, and your goals are going to become harder, in life. You have to understand that there are things you can control and not control, and emotions are just not one of them. Yes, over time you can understand them better, but you cannot control them. And something I like to say is you cannot control your emotions, but you can control your actions, words, and behaviors in life. So I hope you got some insight and liked the video. Comment down below if you have any topics you want me to talk on, or if you have any thought-provoking things. I love talking about those, like questions and things like that, and things you would like me to film, things like that. And I'm not just gonna be doing like talks like this, because I'm not even sure what this channel is gonna be about. I'm pretty sure there's gonna be vlogs and TED Talks and like random stuff that I do. My life's a little chaotic, you know. You should subscribe and follow for the journey. And I want you to always remember that I am a reflection of you.